Kurt Flemming here, aka Flemming the Process Larsen, back with another hybrid boxing video. In my first video I covered the high guard stance. In my second video I covered the Philly shell stance, and in this video I'm going to cover the peekaboo stance. I always hit Bob and he keeps coming back for more. Why is that? Short answer, he likes it. If you like this video, you should come back for more too. And the best way to do that is just as quick as a 1, 2, hit like, hit subscribe. It actually helps the YouTube algorithm, and that helps me to make more videos for you. And as you are enjoying this content, don't forget to share it with your friends so they can enjoy it with you. I appreciate you. Here's what you have to do. I'm back. The peekaboo stance was invented by the legendary boxing coach Cus D'Amato. He was the coach and mentor of boxing great Mike Tyson. And Cus, he wanted to make boxing more exciting. He wanted more knockouts in boxing. And that's why he made peekaboo a very offensive style with a relentless attack. But at the same time, he also wanted to keep the fighters safe. So he wanted you as the fighter to be able to hit your opponent without your opponent being able to hit you. And that's why Cus D'Amato made the peekaboo stance, the peekaboo fighting system, very defensively responsible. It was made famous by Mike Tyson, and Mike Tyson used this edition of the peekaboo stance. Early editions included stuff like the cross arm guard. But we're going to focus on the peekaboo stance as Mike Tyson performed it. Okay, let's start with the stance. The stance can be broken down into 7 steps as with the high guard stance and the Philly shell stance. Step 1, feet at 12 and 2. Step 2, elbows tight. Step 3, hands high. But in the peekaboo, the elbows are not out here, the elbows are in here. And hands are not to the side, they are in front of the face. So 1, feet at 12 and 2. 2, elbows tight. 3, hands high. 4, chin down, like this. 5, bend your knees. 6, sit down in a stance. And 7, able to sway, able to move. That's the 7 steps of the stance. The peekaboo stance looks like the high guard stance, but there are different aspects to it. I consider the high guard stance to be my stance when I stick and move. Stick and move. That's where I use the high guard stance, to be mobile, to be a ring general. The Philly shell stance is what I use when I want to counter fight. But I'm a short fighter, and when I want to close the distance and get in fast, that's when I use the peekaboo stance. And the difference between the high guard stance and the peekaboo stance is the high guard stance is a little more sideways, a little more staggered. So the rear hand comes from here and the front hand comes from here. But Cus D'Amato and Mike Tyson, they believed that if you squared up your upper body a little bit like this, then you could hit equally with both hands. And that's a big part of the peekaboo, that's to deliver strikes with bad intentions. So the peekaboo stance is elbows more together, hands in front, a little bit lower than the high guard stance. And right now my feet are staggered. But as you move in towards your opponent, you're not moving in with your head in line like this. You would be moving in like this. And what happens is, as you are moving in, your feet becomes more squared. The closer you get to your opponent, the more squared your stance are. You're not moving backwards in the peekaboo stance, but when you are at distance, then you have a staggered stance, like a normal stance, but the upper body is turned a little bit more towards the opponent. And because the upper body is turned more square on, there are more targets available. That's why you keep your elbows inside like this in the peekaboo stance. So those are the major differences. I'm not going to cover the footwork in great detail. I'm not going to cover the head movement in great detail, but I'm going to show you a little bit about how you use the peekaboo stance, so you get the idea of it. Cus D'Amato wanted to make a style that was very offensive, ferocious, relentless in its attack, where you were able to close the distance quickly. He also wanted to give you the tools to get by the jab of someone who was good at keeping you at the end of his jab. And one of the ways you could do that was to slip, jab and move under as you approached. And whenever Mike Tyson wanted to go close the distance with a jab of his own, he did not just jab with his head in line. He jabbed with a slip jab like this, and then moving in behind his jab, or he could slip the opponent's punch to the inside, up jabbing like this, and then moving in again under the opponent's attack. So the whole idea is to get in on the opponent, moving under his attack, and once you are in with your own, once you have closed the distance and you are in on the opponent, then you switch to the side, creating angles, and switch back again and create angles. So a peekaboo is a style where you are constantly moving, constantly shifting your angle, constantly changing your level. So it's a very demanding style, demanding on your legs because you're low, moving here, hard for your legs. You're constantly using your trunk to slip and move, and you're constantly attacking, all of which puts great tasks on your conditioning. So when you are in your peekaboo, the ways you could slip the jab when it came was a standard slip. You turn your body a little, bending forward, putting your weight on the front leg. You turn your body a little, dipping, putting your weight on the rear leg. You could weave with the U form like this. And Mike Tyson also had another slip, not this slip, but what he called a windshield wiper. And the windshield wiper was more of a movement in the trunk like this. But he didn't just stand here. As he made his windshield wipers, he put his weight on the legs like this, which enabled him to move in, switching to the side as he was slipping. So you have your slips, you have your weaves, you have your windshield wipers, and you have your D'Amato shifts to the side and to the side like this, all part of the peekaboo style. So to recap, you get in a stance which is a little bit more squared behind cover. You use slipping movements, you use weaves, and you use, as you close the distance, your feet becomes more square, and when you are in on your opponent, you're constantly changing your angle like this or like this to be an elusive target. But whenever you slip a punch and you move to an angle, this is when you can punch your opponent with bad intentions because he's not ready, he's still focused this way. So you come out to the side and you deliver your counter. As he turns to you, you move back, delivering a counter, moving around, delivering a counter, moving back, always in his armpits, always pressing on. So the peekaboo is hard to deal with. If you are dealing with someone who knows the peekaboo, it takes a lot of effort, a lot of practice to be able to use the peekaboo as a pressing style of fighting, because you're always moving forward, you're always changing angles, you're always down, going low, and you're always punching with bad intentions. So from this, you set up your offense, you move in, you shift back. That's the peekaboo style. High guard, stick and move, stick and move, Philly shell, counter fighting, peekaboo, moving in, changing angles, and attacking. So that's 3 different ways to box, and I think you should learn them all so you can choose the right style for the right time in the match. So to recap, the 3 ways to fight is from the high guard. I might start off the fight like this, moving in, jabbing my opponent, moving away, delivering combinations, moving away. And if that works, I will stick with it. Just scoring, starting with the punches, and then setting up pot shots that will connect harder, and finishing up with the knockout punches. But that's not realistic, especially as most of my opponents have a longer reach than me. They are taller than me. This means I might have to slip their punches, move in with my peekaboo, and try to stay close. And if they manage to move away whenever I want to close the distance and throw counters, I might have to go into my shell, counter fighting, catching their punches, returning. So I don't know what style I'm gonna use. That's why I recommend learning all 3. That's advanced stuff if you want to go directly into that. If you want to learn boxing, you have to learn from the bottom up. I learned my boxing in the school of boxing with a curriculum and a process, which means you learn step by step in the right order, making sure that you have developed good habits and you have committed everything to muscle memory before you move on. And then when you move from basic to intermediate, then you have your foundation in place. And when the same goes for when you move from intermediate to advanced. And that's how I plan to develop this channel, starting from the bottom up. The first 3 videos gave you a picture of the stances and what they're used for. The next videos are gonna be very basic, teaching you skills and skill sets from the bottom up. So I hope you could use it. This is Flemming from Denmark saying salute. See you on the next one.